shark!
Hi, Spearfishing Down Under. I'm going to be talking about the 5 craziest shark experiences that I've ever had. Let me kick off with a crazy encounter that wasn't just crazy because it happened to me, but because it happened to my son. Now, I love spearfishing, but it's an inherently dangerous sport, and one of my greatest worries as a father is my son diving with me. I want him to love this sport, but I also worry about him just simply because he's my son. Now together, we've had a number of shark encounters, and I want to, in a moment, talk about this crazy one that we had because it was a shark that nearly bit him on the leg. Now, we've had a few different times the sharks have got pretty close to him. I remember a time myself and Andrew Jones dove together with Josh, got to the bottom. When we were laying on the bottom, I noticed a bull shark coming in. Josh had sort of turned off the bottom, was starting to head back up. I watched that bull shark just eye him and start to follow him off the bottom. I swam up quickly, poked that thing away, just letting him know, get your eyes off my son.
Boy, you alright?
I'm alright.
Oh,
What?
that was a big bull shark.
Oh yeah?
Mate, this bull shark just comes straight after Josh. I fully chased it up off the bottom and jammed my spear in almost past my flopper. You right?
As soon as I got to the bottom, my ear was just had a spaz. I'm like, damn it.
And then you turned around, the bull shark was on you. Did you see the bull shark?
Yeah, I wasn't scared though, it wasn't that close.
Oh.
But I mean, like, it wasn't coming full pelt. I had enough time to get my gun out.
But this moment that I want to talk about being one of the worst was a moment when Josh had shot a really nice finger mark. We've been laying on the bottom together. I was filming him. Nothing was going wrong until he started to head to the surface. And then out of nowhere comes this whaler. In a click of her fingers, it could have taken off his leg, turned away. When you watch it in slow motion, every time it gives me goosebumps to see how close that shark got to his leg. Okay, this is countdown number 4 and some of the most crazy experiences with sharks that I've had, and I've dragged along with me a good friend of mine, Michael Takash.
Takash.
This happened a couple of years ago. We had a friend of ours from South Africa.
Hilt.
Yeah, was diving with us from South Africa, and we headed just north of Brisbane. Started the morning, shot some nice fish, and we headed a bit wide and things were a bit quiet. And we're coming back in to dive an area that's one of my favourite areas for shooting really nice coral trout. But on the way back in, we found a massive bait ball. I do recollect the first time I saw the sharks on this bait ball. They were spinner sharks, and they were just fat barrels.
Round, like, we thought there were like 3 white sharks coming through the ball. Just like, they were so fat, it was unbelievable.
How fat are those fish? How fat are those sharks?
First look at it, I actually screamed out like, ah! Quick, come and get us! And then I had a second look and realised they were just big spinner whalers.
How pointy are those whales?
As we first started swimming in, we passed the initial shock, we started swimming in and noticed that there was a whole range of different sharks. Like you mentioned before, there was bull sharks.
Big bully.
There was spinner whalers. There was the duskies as well.
Was there duskies there?
Yeah, they weren't quite as fat as those spinners.
Like I often do, I take the camera off my head because it's a lot steadier footage and you can get right in there and get some close-ups of these sharks coming up and just stuffing their guts full of all that bait. It was, yeah, pretty cool to see. I think they'd eaten so much that they were just chilled. They were not interested in eating us at all, you know, They were just stuffed.
I remember when we first swam in there, it looked like just the water was dusty, dirty, where it was really quite
just
clear.
Like thousands of scales, just all like flickering and...
Yeah, which is always cool. I noticed that on most bait balls that I've dove on, that scales. And usually it's like boom, bait ball goes, it finishes, sharks are gone, and it's just still left with scales.
You're just sitting there with all this leftover like evidence of what just happened.
I think one of the blow your mind moments is just being amongst so many sharks, which counters everybody's biggest fear. The biggest fear of the water is sharks. I don't know about you, but other than that original whites, it wasn't
Well,
scary.
once you see their body language and you see how well fed they were and how they were interacting with us, we were just, observing there, and they pretty much ignored us most of the time. You give them a poke every now and then.
Yeah, and a couple of times they came right at you, really close on the surface. But it's not like, it's that placid shark, and probably the shark you want to encounter if you're going to encounter a shark in the water.
I think, that's probably the moment I took the camera off, when when it was not just getting ready for defending ourselves. It was more like, okay, now I can film these fish because they're relaxed and we're happy to do it.
At the end of that filming, I was pretty much keen on shooting one of those cobia. I remember the spinner come in and had a couple of cobia following. I had actually taken my camera off at the time too. And it's always hard to try and shoot, equalise, film all at the same time, but I filmed myself shooting that.
It was off a bull shark.
I think it was, it might have been.
It was a big bully that came in, which was the only one there from memory, and he came in, and I think I might have been filming as well, and just filming the cobia, and then I looked up, and then there's Tim.
Tim flogging the cobia.
Can't help himself.
No, can't. That's the thing.
When I first saw those sharks, I thought they were big whites.
Now, number 3 for me was a wild encounter. Big bull sharks are something we have a lot of here in our local area. This day, I was diving up in central Queensland. It was about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We shot some really nice fish, and we moved to an area that I have dove a lot of times before. I did a dive and I came down in the middle of a big school of surgeonfish, and as I drifted through the school of surgeonfish, I noticed underneath the surgeons was a really nice snapper. Tried to get in position, he tailed up current a little bit. Fortunately, just slowed enough that I got a really nice shot into him. Unfortunately, my reel line tangled around my rubbers. Now, here's a bit of a helpful tool for some of you that use reels and you have this situation happen. As you can see, trying to... I then just loosened the reel and started pulling the line out of the middle of the reel, knowing that it was going to be stuck with the gun. Makes a big belly in the line, yes, but at least you can pay out some line to get to the surface. I noticed, and I remember thinking in my head, gee, I hope a shark doesn't come and grab that snapper, but I noticed a nice big bull shark come in underneath that snapper.
There's like 3 bull sharks on it. Bull sharks on it.
Now, bull sharks we encounter a lot, but this one was quite friendly. Pulled that fish up and got it to the surface.
Yeah.
Those sharks are insane.
We went up to do another drift. I dove. Straight away I noticed there was a big bull shark. It wasn't quite in the right area, but I noticed the bull shark was sort of hanging around me. So we reset the drift and went again.
There was a toad.
This time I landed on the right spot. As I was breathing up to dive, again, I noticed that bull shark underneath me, but I focused on making sure I got to the bottom. As I come down to the bottom, saw a really good job fish. He was not really that smart. He just hung and offered me a really good shot. And I remember thinking in my head, yes, I can't believe I'll get such an easy shot on this job fish. But as I was about to pull the trigger, I got thumped on the leg so hard and turned to see what had happened, and it was an eyeball of a bull shark right here. I remember it just like it was yesterday. I swung my fist trying to push that thing away, and it took off, and I started heading back to the surface, And I remember feeling for my leg, thinking, have I been bitten? And I didn't realize it. But as I got to the surface, realized that the thing had just nudged me, just nosed me, and then seeing what I was, cruised by me and took off into the distance. My mate was diving. As I got to the surface, I grabbed him on the leg and said, "Dad, this is not the spot for us to be diving."
I just got hit by a bull shark. He just hit me.
Hit you? Look behind your back here or something.
Oh my gosh, he's hit me right up on the legs. I saw him before I dove. And then I was like, oh, big jobfish. Just line up a big jobfish. Just hit me. Right on the legs, mate. Oh, I've just turned you like right here.
We got in the boat. I was just overcome, honestly, by adrenaline, as my whole body just was like, whoa, that just happened. That thing could have bit me. All it needed to do was open its mouth, just nudge me. Ooh, it gives me the shivers every time I think about it. This brings us to number 2. Now, this one is with a really big tiger shark. Now, I've done lots of diving and seen lots of tiger sharks. Just recently, I was diving a spot. I passed my gun in to Andrew and asked him to throw me another gun. And he chucked me another gun. We're talking. I caught the gun in my hand. I turned around to load that gun, and when I put my head back in the water, 2 meters from me is this dirty big tiger shark.
Oh my God, massive tiger shark.
Now, I went to turn my camera on to film it, but didn't realize the camera was already on, and I turned it off. Turned the camera back on, and I spent 3 or 4 minutes swimming with this massive tiger. Beautiful animal. And I'll be honest, tiger sharks can be some of the most placid, beautiful sharks that you can ever swim with. This one, minutes at a time, I just swam with it. Come under me a few times, really close, and one time it swims up beside the boat. You can see the size of that thing. It was quite a big shark, but placid and not something that I was worried about in the least, other than turning around and it was right behind me. Now, this encounter, again, it's number 2 on my list, was an encounter that just at the click of the fingers, that placid shark turned to become a crazy one. Now, we've been diving long way offshore. I was with some friends of mine from Western Australia, and I'd headed down to the bottom in quite deep water, and I'd noticed swimming around me was some big silver fringe whalers. Those things love to just get in behind you, so I was sort of just spinning as I was diving, watching them as they tried to get in behind me and get close to me. Fortunately, I was watching these sharks because I noticed then, coming directly up from the bottom, was a really big tiger shark. Now, as I would usually do, I just kept my gun between me and the tiger shark, and he came up and did what most tiger sharks would do, just turn off at the last moment. But this one did something different. At the click of her fingers, from turning off, swung back towards me and went to swallow my gun. Now, I went to pull the gun back, trying to make sure it didn't bite my rubbers, and it bit on the gun as I was pulling it back, and unfortunately, I pulled the trigger on that gun and the spear went straight down its throat. Now, this is not something that I would normally want to do for a number of reasons. I just wasted a brand new spear. That's a pain. Number 2, shark's probably not so healthy with a spear down its throat. This one turned off and swam away, hit the surface. My mates were just like, I can't believe what just happened. Shows you how quickly it can happen. A moment like that, just turned and bit on that gun.
He grabbed my spear and made me pull my trigger. He grabbed my spear, I went to pull back, I pulled the trigger. Just lost my spear though, dog. Straight down his throat. He just kept coming, man. And and then grabbed it.
Honestly, for the next couple of hours, every dive I was turning my head. And again, it's something that you need to work through mentally when you have situations like these happen. All right, we are down to number one, the worst crazy experience I have ever had with a shark. And I have Taka back with me because Taka was actually there this day. This was in the middle of COVID when we're only allowed to have one other person. There was only allowed two of us in the boat.
Yeah.
Craziest stupid rule that the world has ever seen, but that was the case. And we headed down to the Gold Coast to go and shoot some fish. I remember we dove for a little bit. The water wasn't
No,
really
it was
that
pretty
clean.
dirty. It was filthy.
So we dove a spot that we both dove before, and I shot a really nice mulloway.
You want to have a look? I had to say there's a lot.
You don't remember this real well. I remember putting you in on a drift, and you drifted back, and you dove, come back up saying no mulloway, but you'd seen a big mackerel.
Right.
And
I completely don't remember that section.
you don't remember that section?
It's all got replaced with what happens
With
next.
what happens next. Which me jumping in and doing the next drift, because I wanted to see if I could see that mackerel. The rest is a wild, crazy, one of two times that I ever felt like I was genuinely going to get eaten. Poking it the second time.
I like how the footage though, it just goes like out of the water, gets closer, out of the water, even closer.
It still gives me the shivers just thinking about it. And you catch the gun on the throw.
That's a massive mate. You laughing? Shoot!
Because I remember you came in and your legs just like scorpioned like this, and you were just on the ground, just like buzzing.
Swear words, so many of them.
That's how Tim swears. Swear words, so many.
I thought it was a white. You yelled white, didn't you?
No, I said get here.
I thought you heard you say
It
white.
lifted me out of the water like 3 times.
It,
It lifted me out of the water.
it like rammed you. Far out. You get on film? Oh.
I thought it was a white first of all. No word of a lie, I was breathing up. And I'm like,
That was huge.
I just turned to my left. No, this is a true story. I turned to my left and it was eyeball right there. And I was like, whoa! Like, did that and it just went looped under it, come up and like that. I went to push it off and it just slid down its back, lifted up my legs like up this way. And I'm like, oh! And then it turned and comes straight back at me and I'm like, get the camera! At least I'm gonna film it if it's gonna eat me.
You got it. You must have got it.
It's eyeballs like that big. Whoa! I don't know if they get scared, but I tell you what. But then you drove past and the thing went there and it come through the wash at me again. I couldn't see it until it was like right at me again. I only just got the end of it.
Another drift? Nah.
Mako.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And angry.
Yeah, right.
It was like, it like bumped me 3 times before I could get my camera on. And I'm not talking like, it was like this. Like trying to eat me. It was just, I had my spear, I kept pushing it off and it kept coming. Oh my God, he come up behind me. Oh, makes me feel weird.
Oh, far out. That would have been a long 30k run back to the ramp.
It just kept coming at me. Not like around me, at me, trying to get me. And
Did you want get in the boat straight away, or you thought, oh, I'll film it for a bit?
I was going to film it and then you drove through and I lost it in the freaking wash and it come through that wash so quick like that. I'm like, oh, no, I'm done. swum back out that wash, and I could just see its tail go through the wash, and that's it. I'm like,
Get me out of here.
I don't mind if I can see it coming, but if I can't see it coming, if it shoots around behind me, mate,
Yeah.
I don't even know why I looked. I thought it was a massive dolphin. It was like, right beside me, eyeballing me.
It's gonna-
eyeball like this.
It's gonna wreck your dive for the rest of the day.
That moment of turning to swim to the boat, I can remember in my head thinking, there go my legs. But when we watched that footage later on, and you obviously could see it from the boat, it just turned right on my fins as I turned to go in. I obviously couldn't see it at that stage.
Yep.
It makes you realise if they really want you. Like, I pushed it away, but if it really, really wanted me,
If it wanted you and you weren't looking, it would have just taken you so quick.
yeah, so quick.
Scary. But the craziest part, remember we were like, okay, no, stuff the spot. Let's go somewhere else. So we started heading north like kilometers away.
Yeah.
And then halfway to the spot, this is probably about 10 minutes of after we'd,
No, I reckon,
not even.
I reckon it was probably 500 metres from where we were.
Yeah, but we've been talking about it for
about
a while.
it,
We
yeah.
hadn't moved.
Yeah.
And we start going, and then, like, what's that over there? And there's this dorsal fin on the surface, and it's just going like 15 knots.
him.
Just swimming as fast as it can
Yeah.
on the surface directly to where we were going to dive. And we're like, should we go back the other way?
He's swimming a 9 mile.
You go down?
Yeah, he went down. We're just driving to another spot and think he can get away from there, and see him on the surface just hooking along. He'll come back again. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the funniest thing I remember is I asked you, you're like, that, we've seen a lot of sharks before and but Dak, this thing wanted to eat me. Like, this thing actually wanted to eat me. And I said, if you saw a marlin at that time or something, would you shoot it? And he's like, I don't know. So we rock up at the new spot.
Yeah.
About, you reckon it was 4 Ks
About
away.
4 Ks away.
And Tim's like, your drift. I was like, no, you go. And he jumped in and you saw a friggin' marlin.
Yeah, I would, you know what? If it wasn't for that thing, I would have never even seen that marlin because I breathed up and I dove on an area. We both dove lots of times before. And usually I just have my head tucked in because it's a bit deeper and I'm heading to the bottom. But I was like diving looking straight away as soon as I dove. And I remember just looking off in the distance and go, there's that mako coming straight at me. And I turned to go, I'm about to get eaten again and realised it's a 100 kilo black marlin.
Insane. But literally, just after the conversation we had, you saw one.
Amazing that could happen. And obviously it was a day when everything was happening.
Yeah.
It was going nuts.
Yep.
Unfortunately, the marlin tailed off. I followed him for a bit, but couldn't get a shot at him. And really, really big marlin.
100 kilo black. No way. I dove and I'm like, look out, and I'm like, you're crapping me, that's that friggin' mako again. And I'm like, that's a bloody marlin.
The last thing you did before you jumped in, you just said that.
Big black.
What happened?
Oh, he just kept swimming.
Just swam past.
He didn't know me. Oh,
close?
he swam wide of me. Pretty clean there.
Pretty clean.
Just tail him, been behind him the whole time. He just nothing.
Probably for the best, because long marlin fight, probably enough time for that mako to catch up.
It's never for the best when you don't shoot a marlin, Taco. What are you talking about, boy? Yeah, so it went, and I remember we shifted spots, and it was getting a bit later, obviously, in the afternoon. And one of the final spots, just before dark, jumped in on, and it's a spot we love to try and target a big green jobfish. The footage of this is actually really funny. It was too dark to have a camera on. It obviously doesn't film well underwater as the sun's going down. Hit the bottom, big jobfish, boom, shoot a big jobfish. I actually got a terrible shot in it, smoked me.
Right.
And I was trying to get it up. As soon as I got it to a place where I could see it, freaking big sharks trying to eat it. Watch this footage for a sec, Tack, because this is actually really funny.
Is this from my camera?
This is you filming and being a wonderful friend, laughing at me again.
Tim's just lost a jobfish, I think.
Great friend. There was bulls and whalers both trying to eat the stupid thing. Get in my hands.
Got him? Oh, nice one. Oh, yeah. Yes! Oh, it's a stronger. You got him.
Sharks all over it.
Oh, you got it too. Yeah.
Then you're in.
It's a stronger.
The sun's already gone down.
Yeah, it's good for a good setup. Oh yeah, the sharks, friggin' sharks. You want to go? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in. Yes, that was a great cap off to one of the
Power
worst.
of jobfish.
The power of big job fish. It was May because just recently it was 4 years to the day, and I jumped in on that spot. And we're on the jet ski, drove up to it and sounded around the spot. When I sounded around it, there was a flipping little hammerhead swimming past. No crap, with its fins sticking out of the water. I'm like, get lost. You were kidding me. And it was one of those little hammers. Yeah, proper. I'm like, it was almost to the day. And I'm like, Joan, you want to die first? So, Tack, you were there for two of my 5 worst experiences.
Not my fault.
Not your fault, never your fault. But I do notice that you did a fair bit of laughing at me in some of my worst experiences. It's great, friend.
Meanwhile,
Tim's just lost a jobfish, I think.
This one was genuinely just one of those moments I thought probably it was done and all over. But I am stoked that I did get a little bit of footage of that.
Yeah, definitely.
Spewing that we didn't get the whole thing, like it was just such an incredible encounter with an incredible shark. This one here for me, just top of the list. Next episode, we're actually going to talk through sharks again. I'm going to pull Bryson in and get him to talk through probably almost on par with this for one of my worst experiences with sharks, and bull sharks, whalers, actually a really wild one, and don't miss out on that. It's going to be incredible as well. Now, let me just sum all of this up with the lessons that I've learned through these experiences. Number one, shark attacks can happen. It's not something that we should take lightly, but it's something that we have to control in our thinking. We have to control in what we think. Otherwise, these sorts of moments will stop us from ever getting back in the water. Now, many people will probably say after that Mako, you probably shouldn't have got back in the water, but there was a whole day's diving left to be done, and getting back in the water and getting the right mindset was really important. I've learned that, you just need to live life to its fullest. These sorts of things can happen, same as car accidents, same as other things that can just go wrong in your life. And listen, enjoying this life that we have is really, really important. You have one life to live, you don't get extras, so you got to make the most out of this life. Also, you just got to trust that, hey, I'm in the water, I'm doing my best to be safe, I'm doing my best to have dive buddies around me that look after me. They're the sort of things that you have to do to make sure you have safety in this area of spearfishing. Again, as always, thank you for your encouragement, thank you for watching, thank you for being a part of this channel with us. We love hearing from you, and again, we hope we inspire you to go past some of your fears, some of your challenges, and realize, listen, this is a great sport and you can enjoy it. It's going to be incredible for you.